Okay, we're going to call the February 16th meeting to order. Roll call.
Mr. Smith? Mr. Vaculek?
Here.
Mr. Murray?
Here.
Mr. Miller?
Here.
Mrs. Kiefer?
Here. This time we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, at this time we do have a change to our agenda. We are going to remove letter D under personnel. So that would be to approve increased hours. We're going to remove that at this time. So I just need a motion to approve the meeting agenda with that removal of letter D under personnel for the regular board meeting on February 16th, 2021.
So move. Support.
All right, roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Vaculek?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Kiefer?
Yes, motion carries. This time I need a motion to approve the minutes of the organizational and regular board meetings held on January 12th, 2021.
So moved. Support.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Vaculek?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Kiefer?
Yes, motion carries. This time, is there any board members with correspondence? Mr. Carroll? No. Mr. Samola?
Yes, we received a senatorial citation from Senator Teresa Gavarone for Paige Radel. It is with great pride that Evergreen Local Schools honor Paige Radel for being named to the Ohio All-State second team for the 2020 soccer season. As a captain of the girls soccer team, Paige racked up 26 goals and 13 assists this past fall in leading the Vikings to an 11-6 record and the team's third straight sectional championship. Paige is the first soccer player in Evergreen history to earn All-State recognition. In addition to her All-State honors, Paige was named All-District First Team and earned her third straight All-Conference First Team honor. We would like to again congratulate Paige on her hard work on the field and in the classroom and thank her for her commitment to representing her school and her community with such high esteem. If Paige could come forward to receive that from Mr. Curtis.
Congratulations.
Is anybody getting a picture for Mrs. Conrad? Should we grab one? Carrie and Josh, do you want to be in a picture? Girls, I don't care, whatever you guys want.
Yeah, take your mask off.
Great job, Paige.
Congratulations.
All right. Mr. Smolla, would you like to continue recognizing our guests and visitors?
We have just a few guests and visitors with us. If you'd please introduce yourselves. Thank you for being here.
Awesome. Thank you. Seeing that no one has registered to address the board, we will continue on. Mr. Carroll, would you like to go over our financial reports?
Sure. All right, you guys have a stack of papers there. It is paper clipped. The very first one is our cash reconciliation. This is showing that we have balance for the month of January. And the second report is our cash summary. This is all of the funds that Evergreen has and divided by each fund. And the second report is a list of all of the checks that we have written for the month of January. So you guys are approving those as well. And the first colored graph that you see, it is the general fund, and that is comparing this January to last January in the first two columns. And then the variance, the difference between those 2 months. The next columns are year to date, this year versus last year. And the last column there is how we're doing with the forecast. And we are 60% of the way through the year, so we are right on track. At the bottom, you'll see a visual of our cash balance. We are starting to receive our tax advancements from Lucas County and Fulton County. So we have received a couple advances, and then our final payment will be made here in February. The second report is payroll and benefits. So you'll see the blue column, fiscal year 20, was each pay last year, and the green column, fiscal year 21, where we are this year. And you'll see the variance again. And then at the bottom, you'll see the percentage of what we've spent according to the forecast. Again, we're right on track. We will be having an update for our forecast in May, so you guys will be seeing that very soon. And then the last report is our income tax. And we did receive our January payment. It is 88% of last year's January payment, so it is a little low, which was kind of to be expected. And at the bottom, again, you'll see a visual of where we are kind of comparing last year. So we will get our next and final payment for this fiscal year in April. And that'll be the final tax collection or income tax collection. Our other income sources, state foundation, which is was cut last year. We will be getting a little bit of that back, not all of the amount that was cut, but we will be getting some of that back. And like I said, real estate collections are starting to come in. So the other thing that I wanted to give you an update on is we did receive one grant from the state, which is our ESSER funds. We did collect those funds and spend them, and that grant is done. And we will be getting another grant. Don't have exact dollar amounts, but I will give you an update when I know that amount and what we plan to will spend that on. We will be meeting this week to kind of go through some items that we are thinking about. So that is all I have.
Great, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Carroll?
Go ahead. Next month, our meter investments group will be here to give a presentation as requested.
Awesome.
Concerning state funding, have you heard any? I know there's been different reports on what they're looking at for next year. Do you have any reports on that?
Not next year yet.
Okay.
Just the remainder of this year.
Gotcha.
So,
which is going to be more than we had anticipated, but less than last year.
correct.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
How's everything going?
Great.
Good.
Thank you.
All right, we'll continue on to our financial section of our consent agenda. I will need a motion to approve the January 2021 financial reports we just went over with Mr. Carroll. We need to accept a following donation of $100, anonymous donation to the Student Assistance Fund. And then there's following companies that donated time and or resources in order to complete the batting cage concrete decks for the baseball and softball programs. Those following companies were Keller Builders, Scott Keller, Micah Construction, Mitch Micah, Hell Ready Mix Concrete, M&R Ready Mix, and Carter Lumber, Dave Pinkelman. We also need to approve the following appropriation modifications: an increase to the IDEA by $2,681.99 and an increase to the ESCE by 89 cents.
So moved.
Support.
Any questions or discussion?
What's the IDEA and the ESCE, and why? Reason for modifications?
So those are two federal grants that we receive, and throughout the year, as schools use those funds or don't use those funds, then some schools will be given a little bit more or a little bit less.
Gotcha.
So we are at this point throughout the school year, we were given just a little bit more.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right. Roll call.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Vaculek,
Yes.
Mr. Murray,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mrs. Kiefer.
Yes, motion carries. This time we'll move on to personnel. We need a motion to rescind and offer the following supplemental contracts for the 2020-21 school year and approve volunteer pending completion of all pupil activity permit requirements. Molly Utzi, we're going to rescind her middle school track coach. Tori Wright, middle school track coach. Haley Sun, assistant softball coach. Shane Chamberlain, assistant softball coach. Kevin Knight, assistant, bowling coach. And Kelsey Ford, assistant volleyball coach. We'll move on to approve Renee Mack as the head cook for the middle school, high school kitchen effective January 21st. And we need to approve a request for FMLA leave for Abby Pennington, tentatively beginning on March 22nd and ending on May 28th. And we have omitted item D. So I just need a motion to approve those that I just read through.
So moved.
Support.
Any questions or comments?
I'm going to ask another one. Just out of curiosity, I know oftentimes I see like, and this is nothing specific to this person by any means, but we're approving an assistant bowling coach when the season is either over or almost over. And I've seen that happen like with the wrestling program as well, where we're approving someone where the season's 3/4 the way over. Is that common? That I mean, and how much coaching do they do before the board approves them?
Sure.
Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Like I said, I've noticed for several different sports halfway through the season we're adding coaches. So okay. Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Any further questions? All right. Roll call.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Vaculek,
Yes.
Mr. Murray,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mrs. Kiefer.
Yes, motion carries. This time, I need a motion to approve the following overnight trip for the Evergreen wrestling team to participate in the OHSAA State Wrestling Tournament at Marion Harding High School on March 13th to 14th, should any wrestlers qualify for the state tournament. Coaches Dalton Nicely, Chad Richardson, and Adam Gleckler will be trip supervisors.
To move. Support.
All right, roll call.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Vaculek,
Yes.
Mr. Murray,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mrs. Kiefer.
Yes, motion carries. At this time, we need a motion to enter into a contract with Simplex Grindle for the fire pump replacement at a cost of $41,300.
So moved.
Support.
Any questions or discussion?
This has to do with the whole panel and the upgrade of all the
Yes.
systems.
Pumps for the sprinkler system, yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
And this came out of that fire we had in the middle school, and we found all that.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Is it a rebuild or?
This is the rebuild cost
Okay.
and not a new pump. A new pump was over 90,000.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Vaculek,
Yes.
Mr. Murray,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mrs. Kiefer.
Yes, motion carries. At this time, Mr. Smolla, would you like to move on with discussion and information?
I have an information piece I would like to share. We are happy to announce that Evergreen staff members are able to receive the COVID vaccine at the Fulton County Fairgrounds on Saturday, February 27th, between 12 noon and 2 p.m. Staff will be divided into groups per 30-minute window to allow for a timely inoculation process. All necessary information has been provided to employees to ensure they can make a well-informed decision about receiving the vaccine. Staff must complete a screening form and bring identification to the site. Insurance will not be charged for the vaccine. I would like to thank Kim Cupp, the Health Commissioner, and the Fulton County Health Department for making this possible for our staff. So it's been in the works. We knew we were going to be the 4th month. We now have a date and a time and all of the paperwork, staff members to receive the vaccine. So it's been a long time coming, so we're excited that it's almost here.
What
Do
kind
we
of participation are you getting?
70%.
70? Okay.
All right. Do you have Ms. Draheim's?
Draheim is zoomed in with us,
Okay.
and we should be able to hear her
Okay.
for her report. Draheim is zoomed in with us, and we should be able to hear her for her report. Draheim is zoomed in with us, and we should be able to hear her for her report. Draheim is zoomed in with us, and we should be able to hear her.
Hello?
Okay, go ahead, Jane.
Are you guys able to hear me? Okay. Just wanted to update everybody that we did finally get to have our pint-sized hero blood drive after 2 years of not being able to have it for bad weather and equipment failure last year on their part. So we had 42 donors that donated blood at our blood drive. And hopefully we'll have another one next year. It was very successful. The school store fundraiser was a very easy fundraiser for us. I don't have the exact total, but on the website, when I looked most recently, it was $301.08 that will be deposited into the elementary principal account. And then the parents were very generous. They were able to give gift cards to individual teachers to shop for materials in the school store. And they donated over $5,890 worth of gift cards for the teachers. So thankfully our parents are very supportive of the programs and things that we do at the elementary school. Our honor roll was given out to the students, the rewards, the certificates and pencils, and they received a bomb pop that was very much enjoyed by the kids. And we are very appreciative of Mrs. McCabe and Cindy Schinninger for putting that together for us in the cafeteria so that we could honor the students that made the second quarter honor roll. And then our most recent staff meeting, Dolores Swineford went through the winter NWEA map results. And this was helpful in giving us information about how to compare the fall data and the winter data. And the results will help our teachers in providing interventions targeted for areas of weakness. And that's all I have at this time.
Great. Thanks, Jane. Any questions for Jane? Thank you. Do we have Brady or okay. Okay.
At Camp Palmer on May 4th and 5th, our sixth graders will be traveling to Camp Palmer, and then on May 6th and 7th, the seventh graders will be traveling to Camp Palmer. As you recall, last year, sixth graders was out on camp, so this is a way we can include both grade levels this school year. Evergreen Middle School Quiz Bowl team started their season last week with a win over Wasion. And then a winter athletic season recap for the middle school. Seventh grade girls basketball team finished their season with an overall record of 10-4 and a record of 4-3 in the league. Eighth grade girls basketball team finished their season with an overall record of 13-4, a league record of 5-2, and second place in the league tournament. The seventh grade boys basketball team ended their season with an overall record of 11-5 and a third place finish in the league with a 4-3 record. The eighth grade boys basketball team finished their season with an overall record of 8-8, 3-4 in the league. The wrestling team participated in the NWOAL tournament and finished fifth as a team. Congratulations to Braden Studenka and Max Mossing, who were league champs in their weight classes, and Trevor Johnson, who was runner-up.
All right, Mr. Curtis.
Evening.
Okay, good evening.
here at the high school, we have had ongoing conversations, obviously, with our local health department about a variety of different topics. Specifically, most recently, prom and after prom. Our current senior class has obviously not had a formal prom here, our junior senior prom. So, in years past, our junior class would normally conduct fundraising opportunities for prom events. Our we have a variety of different parent groups that have always done an amazing job of fundraising to sponsor and fundraise for after prom events. Um, through no fault of anybody, with regard to the COVID situation going on, there have been little to no fundraising going on whatsoever. I know in years past, parent groups have been able to work really hard for different things, casino bus trips, piano fundraisers, all kinds of different things, and there we just haven't been able to do that up until now. We met a week ago to talk about plans for prom and after prom. The junior class and the parent group are being encouraged to work together to develop an enjoyable event for our boys and girls here at the high school. So we have another meeting coming up here next week. Congratulations to Gina Silvestri and Evan Pennington. Both seniors were awarded the Evans Scholarship. It's an extremely prestigious award, scholarship, and not very common for a school our size to have two Evans scholarships. So definitely kudos to both of those seniors. Um, we, for the past 2 years, have worked with the Signs of Suicide program through the Maumee Valley Guidance Center. They've come in and spoken with our freshman health classes to educate students on suicide prevention and awareness, especially during the situation right now where we've got obviously we have been blessed to be able to offer instruction in person here, but I know a variety of different students have struggled with not being able to do things that they've maybe historically been able to do. So, we thought it was exponentially important to make sure that, that's a program we continued here. It was an extremely successful program. They visited here on January 19th and 20th. I'd like to point out and thank. Typically, the guidance center assesses not only just student understanding of suicide prevention and awareness, but also really wants to make sure students feel comfortable in their environment and have adults that they're able to go to if there were a concern. And it was reported to us that that Mrs. Janice Smith as well as Mrs. Adrian Lumbreezer were two trusted adults that were regularly mentioned during their time in the health class. So definitely a kudos and a thank you to those staff members who work really hard with our students here at Evergreen. We have had ongoing conversation regarding graduation. I've mentioned before, pending any unforeseen changes in the current state of public health, we are planning on offering a traditional in-person graduation scheduled for May 23rd here at the EHS Gymnasium at 2 p.m. So, as we get closer, definitely more information will come out to families to make sure that information is shared. We've scheduled our academic awards banquet for May 14th, beginning at 8:30 in the morning. We'll be offering a senior breakfast scheduled from 7 until 8 o'clock before that awards banquet. And we were also contacted by leadership from the Keeping Our Girls Safe organization. We're working on last year, obviously, COVID had put a pause in our plans with regard to self defense training. We're working with the COGS organization to offer another opportunity for self defense training for our students here at Evergreen. We are also in preliminary conversations to be able to host or lead off the sixth annual motorcycle ride to begin here at Evergreen High School instead of historically it's been at the Harley Davidson on Central Avenue. So those things aren't set in stone yet, but we're hopeful to be able to offer those two opportunities here for our students. Any questions?
Awesome. Thanks, Mr. Curtis.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Derek.
Pretty long list there.
Page by page. Well, first, I'd like to thank you guys for allowing me the opportunity to speak today. In regards to that of athletics, I'm going to be talking about 6 main points, 6 main pieces when it comes to athletics right now. First being that of a uniform rotation. I'm excited to work with Mr. Carroll, our new treasurer, to see what that's going to look like. Because as I began my position here from 7th to 12th grade athletic director, there's been disparity. There hasn't really truly been an equitable uniform rotation happening in the past, to my knowledge. And with that, you know, how can we set up a rotation that's going to be beneficial not only for our varsity level kids, but all the way through to our 7th and 8th graders as well. So I'm looking forward to working with Mr. Carroll in regards to budgeting and things of that nature here in the very near future, what that uniform rotation would look like. Next up, Evergreen Athletic Boosters. We've been able to have meetings return to campus taking place in our media center right here, second Wednesday of each month. We will and plan to potentially have meetings from time to time off campus to potentially support that of a local small business. Just trying to generate a little more revenue in the local economy. With that, I'm hopeful hosting here at Evergreen is going to boost in community involvement, increase involvement with people that are stakeholders and have vested interest in that of Evergreen athletics. I want to make sure that I thank the Evergreen Athletic Boosters for the support of our athletic programs, more importantly, our student athletes, through different various donations, scholarships, things of that nature, as they continue to, circumvent and work through all of this COVID crisis that we've been working with. Obviously, that has put athletics in a pinch so far this year. With that, batting cage project completion, it was mentioned earlier in the board agenda in regards to a big thank you for the companies and organizations that donated time to complete that batting cage decks. Evergreen Athletic Boosters, Keller Builders, Scott Keller, Micah Construction, Mitch Micah, Paul Ready Mix, M&R Ready Mix, Carter Lumber, Dave Finkelman. Our EAB president, Mr. Sean Lingendeffer, has all the hardware and netting needed to hang the nets once the weather breaks. We're trying to wait, obviously keep a little life on those nets as long as possible. The plan is to have either head baseball, head softball, or a member of our facility and grounds crew to take down those nets at the completion of each season as well, to hopefully extend longevity. Next up, athletic department finances. Historically, operating around $130,000 a year budget. As we know, with the COVID crisis, we've been by the health department, by that of Governor DeWine, 15% capacity limit for all of our contests so far this year. That significantly obviously affects Evergreen Athletic Department. So to date, when I wrote up this report, which was February 9th, athletics have generated $54,290.47 in athletic admission revenue. That's obviously operating within the 15% restriction. Just for a previous year, that allows us to be operating currently in a 71% of previous year, where we generated a total revenue of $76,658.40. So even at a 15% capacity, I'm still operating in the 70% of what I was doing or what was being done last year, which has been a small blessing. Still have several basketball games, track invites taking place that hopefully is going to continue to bring us closer to close that gap. In total, athletic revenue has been $108,000, $108,401.92, which is within 77% of total revenue generated from the year prior as well. For the foreseeable future, athletic department's taking the position to only approve purchases that are deemed absolutely necessary to operation, knowing that some of these items that have been denied previously will potentially need purchase in the future. Revenue generated this year has been slightly better than expected. Like I said, operating in the 70 percentile, yet still incurring 95% of all cost, is still potentially going to need addressed for future costs associated with operation. Wall of Fame, we're still working on a plan for the Wall of Fame and discussion in regards how to best honor our student athletes. I think potentially with the admin team and us sitting down talking together about how that looks and what that looks like, I look forward to what that may look like in the future. I don't have any set plans in stone, but at the same time, obviously our goal is always to honor more student athletes as much as possible as we can. Lastly, league discussion. Several dominoes began to fall with several schools beginning to shift from one league to another. For example, Elmwood exiting the NBC, the Northern Buckeye Conference, to head to the BVC, which is the Blanchard Valley Conference, to replace a void that was left by Lipsick, heading to the NWC, the Northwest Conference. That leaves a void in the NBC that will be looking to be filled and creating more uncertainty. school like in Elmwood leaving NBC, being that of like a Genoa and Otsego type of schools, potentially that of schools our size that might draw interest from schools our size to potentially move to the NBC. Moving in other leagues has the potential, obviously, to affect membership in the NWAL. Evergreen's athletics, our goal is always to put our kids in the best position possible. So if any shifts were to happen, Evergreen's not the last one sitting at the table. From there, are there any questions for me?
No, I'd like to, if we can do like maybe on the next meeting, do an informational
On league items
on
and
league items, have more discussion, to get it out to have the public come in, to sit down and listen.
I would, we've also discussed having a special meeting where we can have coaches come in, just the 5 board members, executive session. Each coach will be individually spoke with. No direct questions, just their feelings, so we would like to schedule some kind of special meeting that we can get out. The 5 of us can get scheduled together and we can talk to head coaches of each of our programs.
Okay.
To
I would be happy to do a league presentation at the next board meeting. Would you want the coaches coming into that one, or wait till you can process that information and we set up a special meeting after that, or a public forum after that, or both?
We have the financial meeting next month, right?
Well,
So-
I'd like to do a special meeting.
Right, right. So we'll do the 5 of us first and then the public
Well,
meeting.
we can even do it a totally different day.
Sure.
So that our coaches can, we can set it up at, how early we can get here, even if we make it a 4:30, 5 o'clock. They can come in.
I'd
do
like,
executive
I'd like to
session.
do it before the next meeting.
Yes,
Agreed.
I think so that we have a felt consensus on what's going on
Okay.
before that next meeting.
So schedule a special meeting with coaches in advance of the March board meeting, and then I can do a presentation on athletics at the bar.
And
The
let's
March
give them a schedule, kind of like a interview. They can pick
Sure.
a time slot. That way we kind of know who we're going to talk to, and we can kind of keep them on a quick rotation so they're not having to sit here and
And then at some point in time, I think we need to have a community question and answer session after these
After-
things happen. Yes.
after he does his
Yep.
thing next time, we'll schedule at that
Okay.
meeting a community meeting.
We will make that happen. We will get the special meeting set up, and then I'll have information to present at the March meeting, and we'll do a community meeting after that.
Okay. Awesome. Derek, I want to thank you for being on top of the bowling volunteer, getting that people certificate and stuff, because that's been lacked in the past. So thank you very much for staying on top of that. All right.
And I like the uniform rotation. I can't wait to see that idea. I'm gonna like it.
Thanks, Derek.
Nice job, Derek.
Any further questions or concerns from board members? Oh, who did I skip? Oh, you. Sorry.
A couple items I wanted to share, if that's okay.
I wrote everything Derek said around your name, so.
Just wanted to touch on calamity days. Obviously, we didn't have school today. The weather here at the end of the winter has been worse than at the beginning. Today was the 5th calamity day for the district because of poor road conditions. In addition, we have had 2 delay starts this year. We began the 2021 school year with 129 hours above the state requirement for instructional time. With the time and days already missed, we have used 35 and a quarter hours of instruction. Or we've missed 34, we have missed 35 and a quarter hours of instruction. We have a remaining balance of 93 and 3/4 hours above the state requirements that we need to be in session. That's for the middle school and high school. The elementary goes further above the requirements than the high school and middle school. That 93 hours equates to 15 school days remaining that we could miss without going under the state minimum for instruction time. So that switched a few years ago, getting away from days. It used to be the 5 calamity days. We build our calendar with a lot of cushion for instructional time. So again, we're nowhere near that, and we hope to not get anywhere near that. I just thought share just with the days off. It's good to let you know where we stand with the calamity days. The other item I wanted to mention, on Friday, we had a district in-service. The morning session was building focused. The elementary looked at exploring behavior strategies. The middle school looked at instructional strategies for differentiation. And the high school was working on implementation of the traditional schedule for next year. The afternoon sessions tied to our district strategic plan, the Viking Compass, and they address goal 2 culture. So that strategic plan we developed a couple years ago, it is still being implemented, and I just wanted to make that connection. We've had staff in the past, well, how will we ever use this? It continues to be part of what we do for professional development. Any questions on those 2 items or anything else?
Okay. Great. Now, is there any board members with questions or concerns? No?
Nope.
All right. Then I just need a motion to adjourn the February 16th, 2021 regular meeting of the Evergreen Local Board of Education.
So move.
Support.
All right. Roll call.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Vaculek,
Yes.
Mr. Murray,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mrs. Kiefer.
Yes. All right.